Your 7-year-old just bombed their spelling test. You know this because their teacher emailed you before your kid even got home. So you're standing in the kitchen, ready to be supportive, and they walk in with this smile plastered on their face like a customer service rep who just got yelled at for 20 minutes. How was school, you ask? Great, they chirp, voice 2 octaves higher than normal. Their shoulders are up near their ears. Their eyes look like a haunted doll's. This is the face of a child who has learned that your emotional comfort is more important than their actual feelings. They're performing happiness because somewhere along the way, they figured out that being sad, frustrated, or angry makes you uncomfortable. And when you're uncomfortable, you fix, lecture, or worst of all, get disappointed. So they smile, they say fine, they shove it down. And you're about to learn exactly how we teach kids to become tiny emotional liars who grow into adults who can't tell their therapist what they actually feel. Number 1. The mood police interrogation. You walk into a room and your kid looks off. Maybe they're staring at nothing. Maybe their usual chaos energy is dialed down to a simmer. So you do what feels helpful. You investigate. What's wrong? Are you okay? Did something happen? You seem upset. Talk to me. Why are you being so quiet? You're pelting them with questions like you're a detective and their bad mood is a crime scene. From your perspective, you're showing you care. You're being attentive. You're opening the door to communication. But here's what your kid hears. Your current emotional state is unacceptable, and I need you to explain yourself immediately so I can make it stop. Research from the University of Michigan confirms that kids whose parents react to negative emotions with anxiety or interrogation learn to hide those emotions to avoid the spotlight. They start performing okayness because being not okay triggers an exhausting investigation they didn't sign up for. The consequence? They learn that feelings are problems to be solved rather than experiences to be felt. They start regulating your emotions instead of processing their own. The fix? Try this instead. You seem a little off today. I'm here if you want to talk, but you don't have to. Then walk away. Give them space to feel without an audience. Let their mood exist without needing to be explained, fixed, or escalated into a conversation with a capital C. Number 2. The emotional comparison trap. Your kid is crying over something that seems objectively small. They didn't get picked for the dodgeball team. Their friend sat with someone else at lunch. So you try to help with perspective. Other kids have it so much worse. At least you have friends. Some kids don't even get to play dodgeball. You think you're teaching gratitude and resilience. You think you're helping them zoom out. But what they hear is, your pain doesn't count because someone else's pain is bigger. Stanford's Center on Adolescence has repeatedly shown that comparative suffering shuts down emotional processing. It doesn't make kids feel grateful. It makes them feel guilty for feeling anything. They learn that their emotions need to meet a certain threshold of legitimacy before they're allowed to express them. The long-term damage? They become adults who can't acknowledge their own struggles because someone always has it worse. They perform fine while drowning internally because they've internalized the idea that their pain isn't pain-worthy. The alternative? Validate first, perspective later. That sounds really hard. Feeling left out stings. Full stop. Don't rush to the lesson. Let the feeling land. You can talk about resilience tomorrow. Today, their small pain deserves to exist without a comparative ranking system attached to it. Number 3. The toxic positivity takeover. Your kid is having a bad day and you can't stand it. So you hit them with relentless optimism. Look on the bright side. Tomorrow will be better. Everything happens for a reason. At least you tried. You're basically a walking motivational poster. And you think you're helping them reframe. You think you're teaching them to bounce back. But here's the translation. I'm uncomfortable with your sadness, so I need you to be happy right now. Research from Yale's Emotional Intelligence Center shows that forced positivity teaches kids to suppress rather than process. They learn that negative emotions are inconvenient and should be swapped out for cheerful alternatives as quickly as possible. Quick favor from Sticko before we move on. If this is hitting home, could you take 1 second to tap that subscribe button? Believe it or not, over 97% of viewers haven't subscribed yet. Anyway, back to the damage. These kids grow into adults who perform relentless optimism while secretly falling apart. They become the "I'm fine" people who can't admit when they're struggling because they've been trained to find the silver lining before they've even processed the storm cloud. Instead, try this. This sucks, and I'm sorry you're dealing with it. Sit in the suck with them. Don't rush to the bright side. Let them feel the full weight of their disappointment without needing to package it into something more palatable for you. Number 4. The achievement affection economy. You light up when your kid brings home an A. You brag about their soccer goal at dinner. You post their art project on Instagram with 17 proud emojis. But when they're just existing, no trophies attached, your attention fades. You're on your phone. You're half listening. You're busy. From your angle, you're celebrating their wins. You're reinforcing hard work. But what they learn is that your affection has a price tag, and it's called achievement. Northwestern University research on conditional regard shows that kids who receive love based on performance develop anxiety, perfectionism, and a deep fear of failure. They learn to perform success because that's when you're most present, most proud, most them. The consequence? They become adults who can't rest, who tie their worth to their productivity, who think love is something you earn by being impressive rather than something you receive by being human. They'll burn out by 30 trying to maintain the performance that keeps you interested. The fix? Notice them when they're doing absolutely nothing of value. I love just hanging out with you. Say it when they're scrolling on the couch, when they're eating cereal, when they're being aggressively mediocre. Teach them that your love isn't a performance review. It's a constant. Number 5. The feelings are inconvenient message. Your kid is upset and you're late for work, or making dinner, or in the middle of something important. So you say, "Can we talk about this later? I don't have time for this right now." You're fine. Go play. You think you're managing logistics. You think later is a reasonable compromise. But here's what lands. Your feelings are inconvenient, and I'll get to them when my schedule allows. Research from Columbia University on parental availability shows that kids learn emotional timing from these moments. If feelings are consistently postponed, they learn to postpone them too. They learn that emotions should be scheduled, managed, and ideally suppressed until a more convenient time. The damage is brutal. They grow into adults who can't access their feelings in real time, who say, "I'm fine," because they've learned that emotional expression requires an appointment, who perform okayness because bringing up feelings feels like an imposition. The alternative? Even if you genuinely can't talk right then, try this. "I can see you're upset and I want to hear about it. I need 10 minutes to finish this, and then I'm all yours." Then actually follow through. Set a timer if you have to. Show them that their feelings matter enough to make space for, even when life is chaotic. Teach them that emotions don't need to be convenient to be valid. Number 6. The smile through the pain modeling. You're having a terrible day. You're stressed, exhausted, maybe even crying in the car before you walk in the house. But the second you see your kid, you slap on a smile. You perform fine. You think you're protecting them from your stress. You think you're being strong. But here's what they're actually learning. When you're struggling, you hide it and pretend you're okay. Harvard Center on the Developing Child research shows that kids learn emotional regulation by watching their parents. If you model performing happiness, they'll copy it. If you never let them see you struggle, they'll think struggling is shameful. The consequence? They become adults who fake fine, who think vulnerability is weakness, who perform relentless okayness while quietly drowning, because that's what you taught them strength looks like. The fix isn't to dump your adult problems on your 8-year-old. It's to model healthy emotional honesty. "I'm having a rough day today, so I might be a little quiet. It's not your fault, and I'll be okay." Show them that feelings can exist without emergency, that you can be sad and still functional. That honesty doesn't mean crisis. Teach them that performing happiness isn't required to be love. Number 7. The emotional reaction lottery. Your kid comes to you with a problem, and your reaction is a total wild card. Sometimes you're calm and supportive. Sometimes you freak out. Sometimes you lecture. Sometimes you're dismissive. They never know which version of you they're getting. So they start testing the waters with small stuff. If you overreact to the small stuff, they learn to never bring you the big stuff. MIT research on parental consistency shows that unpredictable emotional responses teach kids to withhold. They perform okayness because honesty feels like playing Russian roulette with your mood. The long-term cost? They grow into adults who don't trust people with their real feelings, who keep secrets because vulnerability has historically been punished or dismissed or escalated into something they didn't sign up for, who perform a version of themselves that feels safe rather than real. The fix? Get consistent. Regulate yourself before you respond. Take a breath. Don't let your anxiety, anger, or fear dictate your reaction to their honesty. When they tell you something hard, your job is to stay calm enough that they'll tell you the next hard thing too. Make your emotional response predictable enough that honesty feels safe. Number 8. The emotional labor parentification. Your kid is 9 and they're already managing your feelings. When you're stressed, they get quiet. When you're sad, they try to cheer you up. When you're angry, they tiptoe. They've learned that your emotional state is their responsibility. So they perform happiness to keep the house stable. You might not even notice you're doing this. You might think they're just naturally empathetic. But research from the Journal of Family Psychology shows that kids who become emotional caretakers for their parents lose their childhood. They stop expressing their own needs because they're too busy managing yours. They grow into adults who are everybody's therapist but can't admit when they're struggling, who perform okayness because other people's comfort always comes first. The fix? Stop treating your kid like your emotional support animal. Get your own therapist. Find adult friends to vent to. When you're having a hard day, don't look to your child for reassurance or comfort. It's not their job to fix you. Their job is to be a kid. Let them be messy, needy, and emotionally chaotic without worrying that it'll tip you over the edge. Number 9. The vulnerability shutdown. Your kid tries to tell you something real, something vulnerable, and you panic. So you minimize it, joke about it, or rush to fix it before they've even finished talking. It's not that bad. You'll get over it. Just do this. You think you're helping them move forward. You think you're problem solving. But what they hear is, your vulnerability makes me uncomfortable, so I need to shut this down as fast as possible. Research from Cambridge University on emotional development shows that kids whose vulnerability is consistently met with dismissal or solutions learn to stop being vulnerable. They perform surface level fine because going deeper triggers a shutdown they've learned to anticipate. The consequence? They grow into adults who can't be honest in relationships, who keep things light and surface level because depth feels dangerous, who perform a polished version of themselves because the real version got rejected every time they tried to share it. The fix? When they're vulnerable, just listen. Don't fix. Don't minimize. Don't joke. Just sit there and let their feelings exist without needing to be managed. Say, "Thank you for telling me. That took courage." Make vulnerability safe by not immediately trying to make it go away. Number 10. What we're really teaching them. Every time we rush to fix their bad mood, compare their pain to someone else's, or perform happiness while secretly struggling, we're teaching them that feelings are problems, that honesty is risky, that love is conditional on being impressive or pleasant or okay. We're teaching them to smile through the pain, suppress the hard stuff, and perform a version of themselves that makes everyone else comfortable. And they're learning. They're learning so well that by the time they're teenagers, they've perfected the performance. They say fine when they're falling apart. They smile when they're drowning. They've become tiny emotional liars because we accidentally taught them that their real feelings are too much for us to handle. But here's the thing. You can stop. You can start noticing when your kid is performing instead of feeling. You can make space for their bad moods without needing to fix them. You can model emotional honesty instead of relentless okayness. You can teach them that their feelings, all of them, are welcome here. Because the kids who learn that their emotions are safe, they grow into adults who can actually feel, who can be honest, who don't spend their whole lives performing happiness while secretly suffocating. Start today. Let them be sad. Let them be angry. Let them be messy and real and human. Your relationship will survive their bad mood, but it might not survive a lifetime of emotional performance.